Welcome aboard the National Football Show. It's your boy Dan Sileo. My guys and I were just talking prior to going on the air here. Football season's here. Content is king. And the NFL is front and center. We had Aaron Rodgers in front of the media. We had Deshaun Watson news. We had Jimmy Garoppolo news. The Eagles are reporting to training camp, and there could be news when it comes to Deshaun Watson potentially landing in Philadelphia, like my boy Howard Eskin, who was on our program, even made that mention. We threw that out a little bit, that Howie would be in the conversation. Zach Ertz shows up to the Eagle training camp. Hey, I could have swore I heard Merrill Reese say, I have a better chance on being in an Eagles uniform at the start of training camp than Zach Ertz. And so I may have to get my boy back on again and go, hey, you may want that mulligan back a little bit here. Because, there he is, man. I couldn't believe it, but he had to show up because contractually, as I told you, the same thing with Deshaun Watson. Because of the new collective bargaining agreement, you get fined $36,000 a day if you don't show up and you're under contract. So contractually, these players have to show up, including guys like Aaron Rodgers. You're not going to give back $36,000 a day just because you want to make a point. You know, I love people that try to do that too. Hey, my integrity's on the line. Dog, if it costs me $36,000 a day, you could sell me out in any time you feel like it because I'm a sellout for that. $36,000 a day, not happening. I'm not surrendering that money to making a point. That's not going to work for me, man. Even Aaron Rodgers today on that press conference that he had. We'll talk about that here in a second. But, I want to start my conversation off today. And it's really the biggest topic. And this goes into all sports athletes. It is mental health. And the story going around the room now and around social media and in the world now is what's going on at the Olympic Games. It's funny. The biggest story now coming out of the Olympics is Simone Biles and how her issues have gotten in the way of her performing for Team USA. Let's put it there. Let's be, somewhat down the line. Here, watch this. And I tweeted this out at Dan Sileo Show over on my Twitter page. Nobody on the planet, and see, this is what happens with the snowflake, stupid-ass media that's out there, that anytime you say anything that is going to be, how about this? It's going to be something that you have to be objective on. That what you do is you either tie race into it, sexist into it. You can't be. Why do you think women athletes are covered differently than men? If you want to be on the same page financially, if you want to be on the same page with men's sports, you've got to be covered like men's sports. Nobody on the planet, when we talk about Patrick Mahomes, funny, my boy Krause was saying, hey, what about the last two Super Bowls that Patrick Mahomes played? You're talking about a 23, 24-year-old kid. He's actually right. He played one good quarter in the Super Bowl that ended up winning that Super Bowl the first time they got there. And in the last Super Bowl, he was running for his life, and he didn't really play all that hot. What about the mental strain on taking your team that far and taking a knee, literally, and not winning that game? You had the ultimate chance. Think of where Patrick Mahomes was this last year here in February when he was playing against Brady. Watch this. That dude could get to another Super Bowl. He could get to 3 more of them. But you know what you'll never get the chance to do ever again? To maybe compete against the GOAT. You may beat Lamar Jackson in an AFC title game. You may beat Aaron Rodgers in a Super Bowl. But you had your shot at Brady. That's legacy stuff. Okay? Beating Brady. Why do you think we look at Nick Foles and go, man, that guy had one of the greatest runs in the history of the NFL? He did. And you beat the GOAT? Dude, that guy will not have to spend money in Philadelphia for the rest of his life. He just didn't beat Trent Dilfer. He beat the guy with 7 of those things. That's legacy stuff. Nick Foles is the greatest substitute teacher in the history of the NFL. Who cares he sucked everywhere else? Jacksonville, Chicago. That's not important. What's important, he delivered the goods, the Philly special, the Super Bowl, beat the pants off Brady and his New England Patriots. That's legacy stuff. And Mahomes had a chance to do that. I get a chance to play against that guy. Not just the game, but that guy. And this guy just absolutely couldn't get it done. You don't think he had mental issues after that game? And it wasn't a mental time where he had to really recharge himself. Dude, sports is funny with people because your greatest highs and your greatest lows happen when you play sports, especially when you play it at the highest level. What do you think these guys – look at some of the teams that get to the Super Bowl and then all of a sudden fall apart after getting to the game. Look at the Eagles. They fell completely apart. Look at the Falcons. They completely fell apart once they got to the game. One won it, one lost it. It didn't matter. Their organizations fell apart. You don't think you have mental stress when you get to that? These are all young men too, 23, 24. And it's funny. We were talking about this. Patrick Mahomes gets no hall pass for not performing well in those games. Why should Simone Biles? Because she's a woman? Okay. If you want to go there and you want to give a hall pass because she's a woman, then guess what? Okay. That's why we cover men's and women's sports differently, right there. And if you want to put that divider in the room, that's on you. I'm not talking mental health. I'm talking about, I don't know Simone Biles enough to talk about mental health, and nor am I qualified enough. And nor are all of these sportscasters who are giving hall passes. They're not psychologists. They're just playing one. I'm an ex-professional athlete telling you the way it is. I'm not going to give anybody passes when Michael Jordan and LeBron James. It's a great example here. LeBron gets no passes when he loses finals. And LeBron's been competing in the NBA since he was 17 years old. Remember that Orlando Magic series back in the day? Or how about that series against the Mavericks when everybody in the media pounded him for what it looked like him laying down? Nobody gave him, well, it must be a mental health issue thing. That's the difference. Some are going, Sills, are you being hard on some? No. If she never performed ever again, she's the greatest person ever to participate in gymnastics. What is it, 24, 25 world championships, 5 medals, 4 gold. She could possibly win another gold still in the individual events. Nobody's ripping her personally. I don't know her to rip her personally. But you see what social media has done? Social media has made it so that if you're critical of anybody, they think you're being personal with her. It's almost like this. Watch this. Well, you know, I saw David Price. This goes on in that lame-ass city, Boston, sometimes. You went after David Price when he was pitching, and you went, hey, man, David Price, you know, he's just not getting the pitches across the plate, and he's doing the same thing you did in Tampa. You know what that is? He's lollygagging on the mound. He's not in a rhythm, and he always falls into that. Every time he gets shelled, he's out there jackassing around out there on the mound, and he's not in a rhythm. You know what some snowflakes say? How could you criticize a black pitcher? I'm not criticizing a black pitcher. I'm criticizing David Price pitching against the Yankees. It's the last place we get to do this. Those idiots in politics and in Washington, they make everything race. Sports has nothing to do with race. Has nothing to do with sexuality. You know, we just got through, commending a guy who came out as being gay and playing for the Raiders. Okay? I mean, what does that have to do with sports? Zero. Nobody cares. The athletes don't care. The only people that care are you. You're the only people that care about crap like that. You know what I care about? Can you win one of those championships? Can you win a championship? Guy's gay or not. How dumb. How dumb. Is that a conversation? And you're calling this stuff bravery. You know what bravery is? A blind girl swimming in the Olympics and doing everything she can to participate. And then you hear some fat-ass judge from the IOC not allowing her mother to be there just to help guide her to the board. That's bravery. Competing in a world you can't see. That's bravery. Watch some of those Paralympics. Watch the Special Olympics with special needs kids. That is bravery. Putting your hand up and saying, I need a mental break, it's not bravery. Every athlete goes through all kinds of issues. And where I'm coming from a place of this. I don't know Simone Biles. Nor do you. Stop acting like it. People that are in the media right now are talking about her like they know her. You know of her. This is not a criticism of her personally. How could I criticize an athlete like Simone Biles personally? I don't know her. It's the dumbest thing. And people are on TV all day, yesterday and today, talking like they know her. You know, this is a mental health story. No, it's not. It's about a truly great performer that got to the Olympics and decided that she couldn't go on because of the stress and all the pressure that had built up in the anticipation of her doing what she did in Rio. Is there any other story to this? Why are we adding another layer to this? When she gets home from the Olympics, if Simone wants to start talking about mental health, I'll be the first person to stand in line and cheer her on. But do you really look at that as something where you went like this? I was talking prior to going on the air saying, that'd be like Brady going like this to Arians. I can't play in the Super Bowl because, all those 6 championships, it's finally built up on me, man. It really has. I can't go on. And by the way, I'm not calling it soft. I'm not calling it weak. I'm calling the people that are covering this story weak. You never heard me or seen me write anything at all on my Twitter page or anywhere where I called Simone Biles weak. I just said, why the hall passes? If you want to be covered like every other athlete, you're going to have to take the criticism when you stand there and you don't show up for a big event. Tom Brady, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. You want to be considered that? We got to stand in the heat with those guys. I think you do more of a disservice for women's sports on the way that we're covering the Simone Biles story than anything I've seen in a long time. She is a gifted athlete. She is one of the most recognizable athletes, not just in America, but in the world. And again, this is not personal. I don't know her to call out her personally. And you know what? I wouldn't, because I'm not a jackwagon like that. I'm not going to do that. I would call her or text her if I knew her, and I don't. It just makes no sense. You want to be covered like everyone else. Don't disgrace women's sports by giving women a different doorway to go through. The only way that they're going to get equal pay, the only way that they're going to get equal coverage. By the way, Don't you think that this has been the greatest thing on the planet for gymnastics and for women's sports, that she's been the number one story in the world? Why are you looking at it negatively? My boy Krause, he goes like this. It's football season, Sills. I'm all about content and clicks. This is exactly what women's sports needs. You're on the front page with the NFL. You're on the front page with Aaron Rodgers. You're on the front page of the Eagles. Women, Olympics, which has not gotten very good ratings. Dude, you should take this as a merit badge and run with it. I mean, I opened my show with you. Are you kidding? I'm a football dude. But that was a big story. And I wanted to tie it in. Patrick Mahomes, how young he was. How about Lamar Jackson? When everybody said, including me, he'd be out of the sport in 3 years. What did he do next year? Guy went on to win the MVP award. I mean, that guy took massive criticism. How about this, too? You want to know what could have been even something that was racially motivated when it came to him playing another position? You had a guy who I revere the most, and one of the guys I revere the most, Tom Telesco, asked him if he'd play wide receiver on a workout because he wasn't so sure he'd be a quarterback in the league. Now he's talking about having a max contract. You talk about some racist tones there. Why, you want me to play wide receiver because I'm black? You can throw that in there. That's pressure. That's criticism. That's racism. That's all of that. We're making a story up here that's not there. This girl failed at the Olympics. It's nothing personal. Every athlete goes through ups and downs. How about Tiger Woods? Let's look at Tiger for a minute. Tiger Woods, one of the most revered people of all time in our country's history. That November night, when his old lady ex took a wedge to his head, everything came crashing down. How about the criticism that guy faced? Now everybody reveres Tiger. I can't wait to see Tiger hopefully loop around a golf course again. Come on, man. It's professional sports. Don't act like an amateur. And I'm talking to the media people. As a matter of fact, I want to make it very clear, and let me make sure I underline this for all you people out there and all you like liberals that will take something of what I just said. This is not personal in any way. But I want you to be covered like men. For you to have equal footing in the sports scene and in the sports world, the only way you're going to get on the front page is if you act like it and if you are criticized and revered the same way. That's it. Speaking of that, someone else who was on the front line, that was Aaron Rodgers. I thought today, when I saw Aaron Rodgers' press conference and all the things that he said, I have not seen Aaron Rodgers that genuine in the 16 years I've watched him play in Green Bay. He was asked everything from what he wanted, retirement, is he all in? What were his teammates like? What did you learn this offseason? And he gave thorough answers. I thought he made the Green Bay Packer front office look like a bunch of tools. I really did. You know, he came out and he goes, let's face it here, and I'm paraphrasing a lot of this. Green Bay's not a destination that people want to come and play. It's cold. We have one hotel in the city. And when they come to Green Bay, they want to play with me. Like when Lynn Dickey was quarterbacking or Don Mikowski was quarterbacking the Packers, people weren't running to Green Bay and wanting to play for those guys. When you wanted to play for the Green Bay Packers over the last 30 years, you wanted to play for Brett Favre, and you wanted to play for Aaron Rodgers, and you wanted to be inside of an organization like the Packers that have a great legacy. Play at Lambeau, the fans show up. It's really a great place. I don't know if you're a fan of the Packers. I don't know how you look at Aaron Rodgers today and go, man, you don't really like this guy, do you? He wanted to have a little bit more in the direction of the team. Not making selections on draft day, but he just wanted a heads up. And he was like this, look, if you're looking to make a move and you want to make a move with me not being here, me being part of the future, just let me know, man. We'll work something out and I'll leave. But he knows that that's not the case because they know that Jordan Love's not ready to step into that position. Remember this, when they drafted Aaron Rodgers, there was a conversation. He could be the number 1 overall selection, but he fell to 25. Remember that whole scene? He was embarrassed on draft day. And rightfully so, he was embarrassed because you know what it turned out to be? That guy was 10 times better than Alex Smith, who went number 1 overall. And guess who was the guy in the room that selected him when he was sitting, okay? When he was sitting in the coaching staff in San Francisco, Mike McCarthy. You don't think Aaron Rodgers ever held that against Mike McCarthy? That Mike McCarthy was on the 49er coaching staff when they took Alex Smith, number 1 overall? Brady remembers everything. You don't think that was part of it? Come on, man. Come on. I thought without a doubt, when you look at what's going on and you see Aaron Rodgers, I think Aaron Rodgers, without a question, I think this guy's going to get it done. I think he's going to have a great year. And I think this guy is going to take that Packer team to another level. I really do. Lamar Jackson now. It's got some issues. And this football team, without a question, needs Lamar Jackson. There's a problem in Baltimore. We'll hit on it. You keep it here on the National Football Show.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
but as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
As long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull Beef Jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
Welcome to the Wildwoods, the perfect place where you can safely do everything or nothing at all. Catch a wave, take a nap, go for a drive, grab a bite. It's your vacation, and we're doing everything we can to make it a safe one. The Wildwoods. Your vacation, your way.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 98, is a proud sponsor of The Labor Show with J. Doc and Krause every Saturday night from 6 to 8 p.m. IBEW Local 98's highly trained and superbly skilled electricians are the best in the business, setting the highest safety standards in the electrical industry. So when you're planning your next industrial, commercial, or residential project, choose an IBEW Local 98 union contractor. Learn more at IBEW98.org.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you. Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
This is a key. It's a family tree. It's a pair of wings. It's a secret handshake. And a ticket to anywhere in the world. It's more than a uniform. It's the door to a world most people only dream of. There's strong, and then there's Army Strong. Try it on at GoArmy.com.
Welcome back to the National Football Show, Dan Sileo. I think I'm going to have to start carrying Kleenexes around here. Wipe everybody's eyes. Sports, dudes. It's competing. It's winning. Yeah, but there's more issues to it. Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Oh, I know Sills, that old Neanderthal thinking, tough. That's not what I'm saying here. Okay? Everybody's got their own battles, is what I'm saying. How many single-parent kids you think play in National Football League? How many kids do you think grew up with no parents? Homeless. No food on the table. You want to know mental health? I got 1,000 of those stories. You know, I tell folks this all the time. You know, when I played at the University of Miami, one of the reasons why we were so dominant, not one of those kids had hall passes or back doors. You were either going to jail or you were going to the NFL. There was a wide receiver that played at Miami back in the day. He was a first-round draft choice for the Bengals. His name was Eddie Brown. Love Eddie. One of the most gifted wide receivers in the history of the league. And definitely one of the guys in our program. I'll tell you a Michael Irvin story. I walk into Eddie Brown's house down in Belglades, Florida. He had dirt on the floor, grass on the ceiling, a potbelly stove, and all these kids that were starving. He looked over at me, goes, one day I'm going to buy my mama a house because of what I'm doing here. Those kids had nothing to eat. He had the weight of his family's future on his back. I said, damn. This is when I think I have it hard. I think of Eddie. How about Michael Irvin? Do you know the story of Michael Irvin? 17 siblings. 17 in a 2-bedroom home. Sleeping in the same rooms. 5, 6. Mom had 3 jobs. The weight of the world? We ain't talking about winning medals here. We're talking about feeding your family here. He was 17 years old. Eddie Brown was 18 years old. So maybe it's not that I'm saying that it's soft, but what I'm saying is I've seen hardships you wouldn't believe on what some of these kids' backgrounds are. You go down to Overtown or Liberty City down in Miami, and you go to some of them poor sections, and all these kids have is family and an opportunity. And they're driven to get out of that poverty. I've witnessed it. I've gone and spoke at these places, Overtown and Liberty City. So maybe for me, when I see that, what's going on the internet, on how we give people passes, it doesn't resonate with me. I've seen hardship. Every day of my life, I thank God I've got a support system that helps me through trying times. Those kids have nothing but themselves down in those communities. I saw kids that had nothing turn into millionaires. And when you know the story of those guys and their background, see, I think everybody thinks it's about kissing cheerleaders and cashing paychecks on Sunday. You forget the Monday through Saturday, my friends. You forget the years that it took with no food in your stomachs or no opportunity. You have no idea the journey. Remember I tell you, and I think sometimes when you guys hear me talking about the journey some of these athletes go on, I think you're just talking about the athletic journey. There's more than that. I'm talking about your family. You know, an athlete's story is more about his family than it is about what he does on the field. and the sacrifices they make. And being scared. Here, I'll give you one. Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, we're now hearing that he's got COVID-19. You know the story of Lamar Jackson? South Florida kid. Another one of those families. Barely had any food, barely had any means. I think he was raised by his uncle. Miami didn't even recruit him. Had to go to Louisville. What did he do? He won the Heisman. He was Ozzie Newsome's last gift to the Ravens. Here. Okay. Now he's got COVID. And you know why he's got COVID? What was he doing a couple weeks ago? He was hanging out in the inner city trying to inspire young kids. He's playing whiteout. Everyone was ripping him because he was around all these kids. They're saying that's probably where he contracted it. Didn't have a mask on. But he wanted the kids to see his face. And you know now the league's going to fine him because you know what they have to do? They have to go into the community and act like they're Roger Goodell Fauci. Well, you know, it's COVID. So, no, you got to play that side of the aisle. You'll do it in the offseason, but you'll never do it in the regular season because during the regular season, it affects your economic dollar. National Football League, they know how to play the game. It's just that you don't understand the game. You think you understand the game, but you don't. Oh, look at the NFL. They're doing the right thing. They're going to start fining guys $14,000 every time they don't wear a mask. You think you're going to suspend Tom Brady or fine Tom Brady $14,000 during the regular season? Okay, right. Right. But we'll see how that works. You'll see the unions start to kick their heels up wherever the hell they're hiding. Lamar Jackson's got a deal on the table now that's going to make him the highest paid player in the history of the National Football League. Does he deserve it? Absolutely. He's one of those guys that he's a lean forward dude, which means every time he steps on a football field, you got to lean forward because you want to watch him play. He may be the best open field runner at wide receiver or running back, let alone quarterback, that I've ever seen. And that includes Steve Young. This guy's exceptional. Hey, and let me do something that most guys don't do because they're weak. And he's smart. He's a gifted play caller inside of his brain. It's not just athleticism. He's brilliant at how he sees the field. Look how young he is and how he's developing year in and year out. He's getting better and better mentally. His physical skills will be there as long as there's not a catastrophic injury. And that's probably what the Ravens are debating now. Now you have this COVID-19, but you know what I love about the Ravens? And you know what the Ravens won't do? Ravens aren't going to hold this COVID-19 against the guy. But you know what they're going to do? Because all of you are weak. They're probably going to go to Lamar and say this. Listen, we're going to say some things publicly here. But what we want you to know, you're our guy. We're going to give you a max deal. We love you. But because there's so many snowflake people in our country today, we've got to make sure that they hear what they want to hear, which means they'll lie to you. That's what the league will tell them. Okay, just as long as you don't embarrass me too bad. And that's what's going on in Houston now with Deshaun Watson. That's why nobody said anything publicly from the league office or even from the Texans. You notice that and how weird that is? So they'll go to Deshaun. They'll have to play the game. Look, you see how social media is and how everybody is going crazy over January 6th still. They're still talking about that thing. Will have no bearing on the next election and whatever. And now we're talking about sending kids back to school with masks this coming fall. Jesus criminy. Potential lockdowns again. Oh my God. Country getting locked down again. Great. We'll see. All I'm saying to you is make sure that you keep an eye on what's going on when it comes to how the Ravens, okay, The Ravens do business. They love their guys. Hey, let me throw this at you as well. Okay. Remember Ray Rice in that story? Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Ravens, offered him the opportunity to come back. You know what he said to them? This is Ray Rice. After we saw that horrific video of him punching his then girlfriend, who's now his wife, in the face. Do you know what they did? They went to him and said, Ray, we got to try to get you back on the field. You're too good a dude for that horrific moment. This is behind the scenes. You know what Ray Rice said? No, I got to work on being a better man. I got to work on being, I got to just work on being a good man to my future wife here. And you know what? They're married. They got a great family. And you know what the NFL has done? The NFL takes him around to rookie symposiums on how everything could be taken from you. He works inside the Ravens organization. He's revered. A moment that will always stain his resume and his reputation. You want to hear something? I respect Ray Rice because he's trying to turn his life around and stop others from going down that one moment. Kissing cheerleaders and cashing paychecks, friends. That's what you think it's about? All these players go on these journeys, man. One father, one mother, no father or mother. Yeah, people think like a guy like Michael Irvin, 17 kids. I told you a story a couple days ago. I'm running around on the field. He's 17 years old. Mike's got a stopwatch around his neck. Okay, a stopwatch around his neck. And you know what? He looks over at me and he goes, Sills, 4'5". I'm a Hall of Famer and I get my I get my mother and my brothers and sisters out of poverty. Simone Biles. These people are feeding their families, man. These people are working for a better life. Not about some medal. Who gives a shit about the medal? You got to feed your family. Not about any of that crap. I saw that story. It pissed me off, man. It pissed me off because when you're a superstar athlete, all of the good things and the bad things that go along with being who that person becomes is the book that we all will read years from now, like the Jordan book. Are there some chapters in that book we look at and we go, man, this guy was never really a public servant in any way? You know, what was his famous line? He does this, right? Okay. I got a guy over here, 17 kids. You think that's the responsibility of the mother? No, you know what the mother did? Mrs. Irvin made sure that his kids and her kids, you know what they made sure? That there was food on the damn table for all of them to eat because their father had left them when he was 2. And Michael made her a promise that he would dig her out of the hole. The hell do you know? The hell do you know? What do you know? I know these people. I know where they came from. So when I see the Simone Biles story, give me a break. There's a million athletes. How about LeBron James? His mother moved 19 different times because they had to run out on rent. They had to run out on rent because they couldn't make the rent. Now she lives in a mansion. That's America. That's a great story. Well, this is a mental health story. Okay. Mental health. No, to me, it's more about feeding your family, putting roofs over your head, creating a life for your family. The greatest education I ever got at Miami was not the fact that I played there and won those games and I was part of all those. I was just listening to these kids who had never left the state of Florida. In many trips, we'd go up to Cincinnati or Michigan or someplace like that. Some of these kids never even been on airplanes. I'm like, how could that be? Well, Sills, when you don't have money, you don't get a chance to go many places. Okay? My family wasn't the richest, but you know what they did? They worked their asses off to give me a life. I had the greatest life on the planet. I wasn't raised by a mother or father. Do I cry about it? Absolutely not, because I had the greatest life on the planet with my grandparents and my aunt. And know this. Somebody just said that, Joey B, who's on, said that Simone quit on her team. How she quit on herself? It's quitting on yourself. Because when the lights aren't on you and there's no spotlight on you, that's when champions are made. Champions are made not when the Olympic torch is lit or the NBC cameras are on you. It's when you're out training by yourself, when you're hurting by yourself. I'm going to make a point to you guys. There'll be a time 10 years from now. There'll be a time where she'll look in the mirror and do this. Jesus, criminy, man. How did I let that? Because I'm going to give you a moment for me. You want to know weakness? Let me give you a story on weakness for the NFL. My rookie year, I get to the Bucs. 56 player taken. I get the same contract Jerome Brown gets, about $300,000 less. I get there. Things start going south immediately. Do you know what I was saying by the middle of the season? God, please end this for me. I don't want to be here anymore. All my dreams, all my folks' sacrifice, I'm in my condominium in Tampa, Florida, praying for it to end. Man, I look back on that moment and it pulls my heart out that I wasn't mentally tougher to pull myself through that. I tell this story a few times on the air. But I look at myself and I kill myself over that. My God, how could I let that happen? I know what she's going through. You're not performing at the highest level. You've put too much pressure on yourself. You just want out. I've been there. I've been there. It's a mentally taxing place to be. It's a hurtful place to be because you can't talk to anybody. But 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the line, it'll be a moment that'll never leave you. That'll never leave you. Never leaves me. I see guys that went on and had better success than me in the NFL. My failures weren't because of ability. My failures were because of mentality. Okay? Hey, Steven. So this guy's saying I'm in no position to question you. Hey, dude, you're here. You came here. You don't have to be here. Okay? You don't have to be here, guy. You came aboard here. Just like on my Twitter pages. Okay? Stop treating black people like we're special needs kids. What? See, there's what I'm talking about. I was talking about a teammate. Someone who's friends with me to this day. That's a prime example right there of drive-by assassins who turn everything and see everything in color instead of in team, passion, loving one another. He sees it as race. And that's all he'll ever see it as. You know that one Batman movie where Alfred looks over at Bruce Wayne and he says, there's no reasoning with certain people because they just want to see the world burn. That's who Steven is. He just wants to see the world burn. We'll take a quick time out. You keep it here on the National Football Show.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull Beef Jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
Welcome to the Wildwoods, the perfect place where you can safely do everything or nothing at all. Catch a wave, take a nap, go for a drive, grab a bite. It's your vacation, and we're doing everything we can to make it a safe one. The Wildwoods. Your vacation, your way.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 98, is a proud sponsor of The Labor Show with J. and Krause every Saturday night from 6 till 8 p.m. IBEW Local 98's highly trained and superbly skilled electricians are the best in the business, setting the highest safety standards in the electrical industry. So when you're planning your next industrial, commercial, or residential project, choose an IBEW Local 98 union contractor. Learn more at IBEW98.org.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
This is a key. It's a family tree. It's a pair of wings. It's a secret handshake. And a ticket to anywhere in the world. It's more than a uniform. It's the door to a world most people only dream of. There's Strong, and then there's Army Strong. Try it on at GoArmy.com.
Welcome back to the National Football Show. Dan Sileo. Yeah, and all you snowflakes, if you'd like to post all of your grievances, you can go over to my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show, and I'll ignore you even more. The greatest thing I've discovered this last year was the mute button. I wish I could just walk around like in my life, and every time someone opens their mouth, I could just go like this, boom, mute. You know, I mean, you know, it'd be a walking miracle. Maybe Apple could come up with something like that where I could just go like this. Hey, Steven, mute. Boom. You're a tool. Boom. Boom. Okay. Yeah. I gave you more publicity than you need, dude. I just wish, you know, I have to remember something. This guy, Steven, that's now like talking to us here. I would say this, you know, I wish to God, here, let me make a prayer. Dear Jesus, I just wasted 10 minutes of my life talking to Steven. Can I please get that 10 minutes back before I go to my grave? And when you close the box, I just want those 10 minutes. Thank you very much. And God, we pray. Thank you, Big Sills. We move on. Hey, my favorite topics this time of the year, especially like in Boston, Philly, here, where else? Pittsburgh, New Orleans. What do you think the outcome will be for the upcoming 2021 season? I don't know. How about 10 wins? No, 5 wins. And then you start this ping pong. Before you know it, you have all the jackasses coming in going, man, you're just a hater. Man, why can't you be a support? And then before you know it, you got what you need, and you're a traffic cop, and you got your trolls going back and forth, talking, you know, and you build up this troll bank of dudes that end up coming on your show. That's why on my national radio show at night, I don't take any calls because I hate trolls. I actually think more of me and less of you is better. And so I've always believed that. Hey, let me sit around. Hey, man, that's not going to work for me, man. Because most of the time, these idiots take you off into an off-ramp you don't want to go because you got your show. I told people this a long time ago. Rush Limbaugh, I went down and watched Rush, and I told him, I go, hey, Rush, man, I take 50 calls a day. Rush goes, you're just a traffic cop. So you let the trolls on your radio show direct you and direct your content? Well, don't ever do that. Don't do that again. That's why I wish God, again, thank you. I need that 10 minutes back in my life before I die because I wasted it on Steven. God forbid me. Ugh. Anyway, so we will have Harry Mays on with us in the second hour. Right here on the JAKIB Media channel, you get him on the middle, and we'll talk to him. That'll be in the second hour. But I will hit on Eagles. They show up to training camp today. My expectations on that team, I don't have any. But because they play in the NFC East, I don't know. Could they get lucky? Could another team, could Dak have another injury? Listen, I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not Nostradamus here that is just going to rub a lamp and go, hey, what do you think happened, Sills? You know, if I knew that, I'd have the lottery numbers and the Powerball numbers, and I wouldn't be talking to you. I'd burn the bridges and go somewhere so I don't have to put up with pathetic people. Okay? That's what I'd be doing. So for me, I mean, how I looked at them going into the upcoming season, what's their depth like? Well, they're playing musical chairs at the O-line position. If this guy works out here, if that guy works out here. How about their defense? You know, yesterday we were talking to Rick Gosselin, and Rick Gosselin said that 8 of the 11 guys on the Dallas Cowboys needed to be replaced on defense. I don't know. When I look at that front seven, I'm keeping a healthy Fletcher Cox. But, I mean, really, how about getting after somebody, too? How about a pass rusher? How about your secondary play? How about your line? Be looking for – Howie's been looking for a guy at safety for 3 years now. I mean, their secondary's not very good because, one, you're not getting enough pressure on the quarterback. Fletcher Cox, who I love, has been in and out of the lineup because of injuries. And why is that? Well, when you have a ballet routine on your offense that's going 1, 2, 3 kick each and every single series, you're going to wear the hell out of that defense the same way that Chip Kelly wore that defense out a couple years ago. Running 85 plays. Did you not think when you hired that stiff that you're thinking that you're going to run 85 plays in the NFL? You need balance, man. Anytime you're up near that number 85 plays and you're not scoring 39 points and you're around 25, you're a ballet routine, which means you're putting your defense on the field and you got to play 17 of them things now. Not just 16, 17 of them things. You don't have the depth you had like you had in college. Homeboys at UCLA now had 85 guys, and if a guy got hurt, he had another first rounder at Oregon. Can't play that route in the NFL. You think you're going to throw 80 plays up and you're going to have that run and gun shoot type offense. It's going to get your team killed. And when your quarterback's not playing well like Wentz didn't last year, why do you think that side of the football is underachieved, banged up, and lacking depth? And when you come off a Super Bowl year, what happens? Guys want to get paid, and then you got to start moving money because you were all in for that moment to win a Super Bowl. There was a year that the Eagles had the best D-line and O-line as a combination in the league. You know what's happened since the Super Bowl? That's diminished big time. They went from 1 to 15. That line's decent on O. The D-line, I don't know. I don't see them being world beaters and getting quarterbacks on their back. And I start there in the pits. I know everybody wants to go, well, what about Devontae? How are you going to get the football to Devontae if your O-line's getting your inexperienced quarterback's ass kicked? So, as I said, expectations, I have none for them. And when I look at the roster, what they have, now listen, like I said, it's the NFC East. You get a chance to play the Giants. Daniel Jones, okay, you're lucky it's Daniel Jones. And watch this, and you're lucky it's not Eli. Eli'd win that division today. He'd be the best quarterback in that division, including Dak. Washington, dude, the best quarterback in the division may actually be in Washington. It depends on what Ryan Fitzpatrick we get. If we get Ryan Fitzpatrick, they could win the division. If they get Conor McGregor, he looks like him. That team will win 7 games. Then again, that may be good enough to win that division. So where are the Eagles in that process? Here, watch. Best quarterback. I guess it's Dak. I guess what? Because he makes the most? That's not an evaluation. It doesn't start with paychecks. It starts with wins and losses. How's Dak done the last 3 years? Look at the numbers. Last 3 years, winning and losing. Yeah, but Danny's threw for a lot of yards. I don't care what he's done. Talking yards and touchdowns and picks. I'm talking wins. I'm talking wins here. Eagles at best are a 7-win team. That could maybe win the division. How about this? I think the Eagles could probably get into the last 2 weeks of the season and still have some formula to get into the playoffs. If everything goes well for them, they could get into the last 2 weeks. And quite frankly, if they have a winning record in the NFC East, they could win the division. But that's a big order, man. That's a big order. They don't have the defense Washington has. Hey, and the best defender in that division is now Chase Young, and he's in Washington. Who's the best coach in that division, the NFC East? I think it's Ron Rivera. I think it's Rivera. Ron's a hell of a coach, hell of a defensive-minded scheme guy. And if they get anything out of him, they're going to be good. So, again, Philadelphia, around 7. I can't go any higher than that. I had some toolbox going, man, this team right here is going to surprise because of Devontae. What about your whole line, dude? You're playing musical chairs with them guys. That's not how you win. You win with stability. That's why the Buccaneers wanted to bring every one of them dudes back. All right. So Deshaun Watson news. And by the way, did you hear the Texans are not going to put any restrictions on this guy? And I'm going to give you my top 5 quarterbacks, but I'm not like that clickbait website, Pro Football Focus. I got my own metric that I use. We'll do that all next. And Harry Mays will join us in hour number 2 from the middle, right here on the JAKIB Media channel. Keep it right here on the National Football Show.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull Beef Jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
Welcome to the Wildwoods, the perfect place where you can safely do everything or nothing at all. Catch a wave, take a nap, go for a drive, grab a bite. It's your vacation, and we're doing everything we can to make it a safe one. The Wildwoods. Your vacation, your way.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 98, is a proud sponsor of The Labor Show with J. and Krause every Saturday night from 6 till 8 p.m. IBEW Local 98's highly trained and superbly skilled electricians are the best in the business, setting the highest safety standards in the electrical industry. So when you're planning your next industrial, commercial, or residential project, choose an IBEW Local 98 union contractor. Learn more at ibew98.org.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
This is a key. It's a family tree. It's a pair of wings. It's a secret handshake. And a ticket to anywhere in the world. It's more than a uniform. It's the door to a world most people only dream of. There's Strong, and then there's Army Strong. Try it on at GoArmy.com.
Hour 2, Dan Sileo, National Football Show. Harry Mays from the middle will be with us at the bottom of the hour. A little bit more Eagle news. And Deshaun Watson, and I got the only metric that you need when it comes to taking the top quarterback in the NFL. Don't listen to those other stupid asses that give you, well, you know, the best quarterback in the NFL right now. You know it's Pat in us. I got one metric that you need. That's it. One metric. Now, so Merrill Reese came on our program a couple weeks ago, and he had to go on WIP's morning show with Angelo and kind of like said, I never said that about Zach Ertz and all this and that. And he made some lineups. Sileo, you'll have a better chance of being on the opening day roster for the Eagles than Zach Ertz does. Well, come to find out today, Howie Roseman said that Zach Ertz most likely will be on the opening day roster for the Eagles. Now, what changed? What changed in that whole offseason that these guys were adamant on moving actually three people, the head coach, the quarterback, and the tight end? What changed? Well, Doug Peterson didn't have enough control of the coaching staff. They wanted him to fire the wideout coach. And that whole thing got to a point where they thought would be in the best interest if they just parted ways because it was going nowhere. How do you fire a Super Bowl coach and a guy that won multiple division titles for you and you just blow him out like that? That's called a difference of agreement. Those guys basically didn't come to any kind of consensus on how they were going to run the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what that thing came down to. It came down to philosophical differences. He wanted more control of the personnel. He wanted more control of the game day roster. He wanted more control of the coaching staff. They weren't going to give him that, even though he had earned that. So I'm like, okay. That's how that unraveled. And this is how Nick Sirianni got parachuted in. By the way, we're still working on him coming on the program. We've been in contact with the Eagles and also with Nick. And so this is going to happen. We'll keep you updated on when it happens. You go over to my Twitter page and you can keep updated. It took us a little bit to get Dabo Sweeney on. We got Coach Sweeney on the other day. We're going to get Nick on with us. And all because of Frank Reich. And we really appreciate Coach setting us up that way too. So we're going to get Nick Sirianni on with us real soon. So what changed for Ertz and all of a sudden Ertz staying? Follow me here. So Howard Eskin, who we get on all the time, love Howard, kind of floated out there the idea that the Eagles may be in contact with the Houston Texans, and I found out they are. But then again, that's nothing out of the unordinary for Howie, right? To pick the phone up and call somebody. Remember Patrick Peterson? He ended up calling up Arizona. He was trying to look for a guy in the secondary 2 years ago. They were trying to bring him into Philadelphia, but Steve Keim, the general manager of the Cardinals, just wanted too much. And he didn't have really the assets to surrender that. So, I mean, he's always on the horn talking about bringing dudes in. What stopped that process? Well, I'll tell you what. I got Devontae Smith. Tell me how this looks. I draft Devontae Smith in the first round. I got a tight end that's a difference maker on the team. I got a quarterback who I'm not sure who he is. Jalen Hurts is a seatbelt, friends. He's not an elite guy. He'll never be. Now, do you have to win Super Bowls with elite guys? No. But he's never going to be a guy that's going to throw you out of trouble if you get in trouble. That's not who that player is. He's not going to magically just all of a sudden transform into Tom Brady or Russell Wilson. That's not going to happen. So you have an outlier there. I don't know. If I'm going into a regular season and I make this comment about your starting quarterback, watch. The Giants, I don't know. The Jets, I don't know. Washington, I don't know. The Dolphins, I don't know. The Saints, I don't know. The Bears, I don't know. The 49ers, I don't know. There's very few teams you go, yeah, that guy's the guy. That guy can do it. You get in trouble, that guy can throw you out of trouble. That's the guy you want. A guy that can throw you out of issues. You're Howie Roseman, and you know that guy in Houston could throw you out of trouble. Okay? You know that guy could throw you out of trouble. You have Devontae Smith and you have Zach Ertz in your offensive huddle. I'll tell you what, that automatically makes the Eagles a player. You put that dude on that team goes to a 10-win team overnight. Overnight. Because then what you have is you have a guy in Nick Sirianni who was the OC with Frank Reich in Indianapolis. And look what they did with Phillip Rivers. They brought Rivers in for 1 year. And that team won 11 games. And they actually did a damn good job getting to the playoffs. I'll tell you what, they were sneaking around on people, weren't they, that Colts team a year ago? They finished in the top 10 offensively and defensively. It's the only team coming back in 2021 where you went like this. I'll tell you what, man, that's a pretty good units there. Now you parachute Wentz in there. A better Jonathan Taylor. Colts look good. You parachute Deshaun Watson into Philadelphia. Oof. Holy cow. Is that a different looking football team? Instead of farting around with Jalen, which, by the way, it's a great place to be. Remember something now. You owe a crap load of money on that Wentz deal still to Indy. How you get some of that money back? Now you got to remember something. You got but here's the thing too. I wonder how Eagle fan would respond to all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes here with Deshaun. If that guy can play, what are you, a marriage counselor? Oh, what are you, a public relations expert? If he can play. I don't want a guy like that on my team. You know that guy? I always say this to people. If O.J. Simpson had done the things that he did and he was an active player, you think the Bills would have put him on that active roster? If he got off on what he did in California and he had just come off a 2,000 rushing season? Now, it's the NFL. Remember what I'm telling you here. You think they kick him out of the league? I don't think so. Well, he was innocent. Yeah, okay. But he was innocent. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay, he was innocent. Really? Okay. Sounds good on a roster, doesn't it? It sounds great on a roster. You know, because you know that guy. That guy'd be like, well, you know, this guy's got all these issues that may play into him not playing. Now, that's a real thing. I don't want to trade for a dude that can't play. I don't want that. But you're talking to me 2-3 games and you get a generational quarterback like that? Remember this. Prior to all those accusations in Houston, man, they're talking 5 first-rounders for that guy. Jimmy Johnson flat out told me, hey, coach, would you take 3 ones for that guy? He goes, no, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. So, Deshaun Watson, Zach Ertz, Devontae Smith, and a patchwork O-line in Philly. In that division, you win 10 games. You'd be a 10-7 team. And with the teams as bad as they are in that division, you probably really have a great record in that division. Sean roll in there, man. Holy cow. Nick Sirianni would work magic with that guy. Look what he did with Rivers, who was a high turnover quarterback in his entire career. When he was in San Diego / LA, Rivers is a high turnover guy. Deshaun's not. He's a high turnover dude. So if I'm Howie, I'm on the phone with the Texans, and you do this. I'll give you 3 ones for him. And I'll give you Fletcher Cox. Would you do it? Would you do that? Aging Cox, right? Guys are telling me about injuries and crap. You get out from under the player and his money. Kind of start adding up the stars a little bit on how you can get some of that money. And by the way, the asking price for Watson's not going to be as high as it was before. There's collateral damage now. You can tell me all you want about the Ferrari, but it's been in a train wreck. Well, it's a Ferrari. Yeah, okay. Well, it's got damage marks on it. I'm not giving you full price for that thing that you were asking me a month ago for. You just got into a car wreck. I'm not giving that. Yeah. Your price a month ago was $10,000. You get into a car accident, you think you're going to get $10,000? Deshaun Watson's in a car wreck right now. He's in a car wreck. set that franchise up and everybody in that organization up for the next 10 years if you're able to land that guy. Okay? No way. I see some guys over in the chat room saying it's not a one yet. You're right, it's not. You got to do something, Eagle guy, that's unholy to you. You got to root for Wentz to win. I can't do that. Why? It's in the best interest of your team. What are you, crazy? If that results in me being able to land a player like Watson or I get a first rounder, who gives a whatever about Carson Wentz? Get over that stuff. Get over that. Get over yourselves. If Wentz succeeds, gets to an AFC title game, your pick goes to a 1. I don't want that. It's like the same guy that says this. I can't have a guy like that on my team. This isn't the morality league. In case you're not keeping score, since when is this the morality league? Where did you get that from? Well, we have to have quality guys. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. I want to have guys with character. Like, I'm so happy I played for a guy like Jimmy Johnson. I really am. Jimmy Johnson, just go play. Here, I'll give you a Jimmy Johnson and how Jimmy Johnson owned the NFC East with one move. Besides the Herschel move. I've told you guys some of the history of this. What do you think the one pick that Ed DeBartolo, the former owner of the 49ers, regrets to this day? It was the Charles Haley move. Here, do you know how the Cowboys got Charles Haley? Oh, this is going to really bust over everybody in the NFC East and NFL fans. Do you know how Jimmy got it? Okay. So there was a dude in the room by the name of Bob Ackles. It was Jimmy Johnson's right-hand man. And he would call all the teams all the time because back when the Cowboys were building, they were looking for players. They went 1-15. Then I think they went 7-9. And in the third year, Jimmy won his Super Bowl. Maybe it was his fourth year. I forget. It was something like that. And Bob Ackles gets a call from the 49ers. Hey, we want to trade Charles Haley. Charles Haley had just won like 2 Super Bowls and was like the top pass rusher on the team. Bob Ackles was like, what do you want for him? They didn't want anything really for him. They just wanted him out of the organization and off the team. Bob was like, let me talk to Jimmy. So he goes and talks to Jimmy. Jimmy gets back from his legendary noon run. He goes, I got an interesting call from Carmen Policy. And he goes, they want to deal Charles Haley. Haley would go on and win 3 Super Bowls in Dallas, total of 5. He's the second winningest Super Bowl man in the era next to Brady. You know that, right? He's got 5 of them. He's number 1 defender, I think he has 2 with 5. I don't think anybody else in NFL history has more than 5 or 5. So Jimmy gets on the phone with Carmen. What the hell happened? Well, when the change was made, Charles Haley couldn't stand George Seifert. So you know what he did? I guess Seifert called him out, put him on blast in one of the meetings. And right after a team meeting, Haley goes out, stands on his car hood, George Seifert's car hood, and pisses on it and takes a crap on it. True story. Get that guy out of here. I want to see that guy's ass in this building. I don't want him in here. Don't have that guy ever in here. I think they got a third for him or something. It wasn't a lot. And DeBartolo told me to this day, getting rid of Joe, sending him to KC, and letting Haley walk out the room. He goes, that move, in my opinion, cost us Super Bowls. So you know what Jimmy did? Jimmy made the move. Nobody was talking about, well, this guy just crapped all over a head football coach. He disgraced an organization. He was an awful teammate. Jimmy gets Charles Haley in the building, looks him in the face and goes, I hear you don't want to practice a lot. I don't have a problem with that. That's 8 tackles and 2 sacks every game. I don't want to see anything less. We have a problem if you're not producing like that. Do we have an agreement? Haley produced the whole time. He produced the whole time he was there. You think anybody gave a rat's ass about somebody defecating or urinating on the head coach's car hood? This is about winning. NFL, I don't care about that stuff, man. The NFL cared about winning. These cases that are out there, if you can make them go away, Deshaun should make them go away. And if there's innuendo or there's a stigma about it, but there's no criminal crimes, nobody in that NFL locker room in Philadelphia will give a rat's ass because that guy will go out and put multiple win years up. But you'll get snowflake people going, oh, this guy's got a, problem. And, I don't know what kind of guy. What are you, like I said, a marriage counselor? I mean, who are you? You're a fan. Act like it. You're not the morality cops. NFL likes to play that sometimes. I get it. Right? The NFL. Love it. Love how they act. All right, real quick. Harry Mays will join us, too, from the middle. JAKIB Media. We'll talk to him where they fit in. One thing I want to say about, how you're going to get a lot of people like Pete Prisco and all these other nobodies that always do this, right? Hey, man, here's my rankings of my quarterback, and here's my one metric that I have. Here's the big Sills metric. You had to pick one quarterback to win one football game. Who would it be? Who's playing today? Don't give me stats. You had 60 minutes. 60 minutes to win one game. Who is it? Tom Brady's the best quarterback in the NFL with that distinction. Yeah, but what about the guy with all the numbers and 48 touchdowns and 5 in it? Okay, all right. Yeah. You know who the second guy is? It's Russell Wilson. I had to win one game. I'm going to take him. Third guy would be Aaron Rodgers. Fourth guy would probably be Mahomes. After 4, I don't know. If I had to pick one dude to win a game. It's Brady and everyone else still. I don't care how old he is. Until you prove that you can beat the old man, homie's still the king. All right, we'll talk to Harry Mays. We'll get his thoughts where the Eagles fit in to the NFC East. We'll do that next. You keep it here on the National Football Show.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull Beef Jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
Welcome to the Wildwoods, the perfect place where you can safely do everything or nothing at all. Catch a wave, take a nap, go for a drive, grab a bite. It's your vacation, and we're doing everything we can to make it a safe one. The Wildwoods. Your vacation, your way.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 98, is a proud sponsor of The Labor Show with J. and Krause every Saturday night from 6 till 8 p.m. IBEW Local 98's highly trained and superbly skilled electricians are the best in the business, setting the highest safety standards in the electrical industry. So when you're planning your next industrial, commercial, or residential project, choose an IBEW Local 98 union contractor. Learn more at ibew98.org.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
This is a key. It's a family tree. It's a pair of wings. It's a secret handshake. And a ticket to anywhere in the world. It's more than a uniform. It's the door to a world most people only dream of. There's Strong, and then there's Army Strong. Try it on at GoArmy.com.
Welcome back to the National Football Show, Dan Sileo. Don't you like all these little clickbait websites? Here's the best O-line. Here's the best quarterbacks going into the 2021 season rankings. Like, there's only one metric you need. Okay? That is, if you had to win one game and you had 60 minutes to do it, who would you pick it? Well, it depends who the wide receiver. I don't give a crap who the wide receivers are. Okay, if they're Amendola and Edelman, and it's Bob Smith, you think they're winning games? I'd be like, who's Edelman? Wes Welker. No, there was. Hey, Wes had the benefit the last two quarterbacks of his career to have who? Brady and Peyton Manning. I don't know. That might help the numbers when you got those two guys. That might help the numbers. Yeah, I was watching a couple TV shows and a couple sports shows today, and then I was looking at a couple lists on, this guy's here, the best quarterback is Rodgers and, Russ. I get Russell. I get that. But, they're going on age and production and fantasy geek numbers. I'm sure my boy Cal loves that. And so all those guys with big numbers, the guy that fills out your fantasy football league or whatever the hell you guys do on Friday nights when you're not with your chicks, whatever you're doing, I don't know. And you're sitting there looking over at Billy Bob and you're going, hey, you think I should take Russ or do you think I should take Patrick Mahomes? Which one of these guys? Why don't you take Brady? Guy's been to 10 championship games. I don't know. It seems like a logical pick. No. You see Pete Prisco's list? Who's Pete Prisco? Oh, yeah, that guy. I remember. Yeah, CBS notknowanything.com. Yeah, that guy. Okay. Yeah. My favorite one, though, is the draft days. When you get those draft dudes, like on a Monday, well, this is what I looked at the draft, and like, how come you got every guy and every pick wrong? Well, the teams went in different directions, and they slid, and it screwed up the entire – you're like, bro, you didn't get anything right, and you haven't got anything right in 10 years. Like Mike Mayock, he got the Raider gig by being on the NFL Network and getting some of his draft picks right. I was like, Jesus Grammy, man, that's how you got to be the GM of the Raiders? Is because you played a little ball and you played at BC and you covered Notre Dame and you worked at the NFL Network and you sounded like you know what you were talking about? That's crazy. It really is. Yeah. If someone asked me who I would take, I'd like, I'm going to take the guy in Tampa. Why wouldn't you? Well, a lot of factors. I go, no, there's not. There's only one factor. Who wins the most games? Who motivates his team? I love those guys that do that. All right. I'm a big fan of this guy here, and you can catch him on the middle right here on our JAKIB Media channel. And I reached out to him last week. I love the fact that he goes on vacay. Now he's here with me here. Harry Mace from the middle. He joins me here now on the National Football Show. I appreciate you doing this, brother. Thank you, man.
Great to be with you, Dan. I'm sorry I couldn't do it last week. I was up in Connecticut. The connection wasn't all that great, and I was did my show remotely. We got through it, but I didn't want to risk being on your show and screwing it up. Because I see the guest list that you have, man. You get some big time people on this show, me not included.
You know what though, Harry? I tell people, it's relationships that have happened once you've just been doing this for so many years. I mean,
right.
You're never trying to do is you're never trying to burn a relationship. Sometimes you do if you're doing it a long time, like you and I have done it.
Right.
And it's been over the years. But here, you'll love this. It took me 7 months to get Dabo Sweeney on.
Oh, wow.
And I finally got him on Monday.
Uh-huh.
And we kept him on for a while. I think we had him on for like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, so that's kind of, I'm one of those like Unabomber text message guys, man. I'll keep continuing to do it until I get your ass on. All right, hey, by the way, I'm a Connecticut guy. I'm glad to hear you up in Connecticut, man.
Yeah, my sister lives up there in Groton, Connecticut,
yeah.
like right on the Long Island Sound there. It's nice up there, man.
Absolutely. Let's get into the Eagles here.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me, we had Merrill Reese on with us a couple weeks ago, and Merrill's like, Sileo, you will have a better chance on being on the opening day roster than Zach Ertz will be on the opening day roster. Well, I just saw Howie Roseman say that. It looks like he's going to be there week 1. What's changed?
Well, I don't know that anything has really changed except nobody's offering up any draft picks for Zach Ertz. And I think, they were holding out that they were going to get some sort of draft compensation for him. And, if you're one of these other teams, you're sitting back there saying, hey, man, I like what I have, or, I haven't absorbed an injury yet. I'm not giving up a draft pick for a guy that you probably may end up having to release anyway, because he's $12.7 million cap hit right now, and they could save over $8 million if they traded him or released him. So I still am thinking, I'm still of the mindset that he won't be an Eagle starting week 1 or shortly thereafter in the season, because injuries happen all around this league. It's a war of attrition, this game that we love. And somebody's bound to get hurt. And he's a very good player. He's not a great blocker, never has been a great blocker. But he can run routes and he can catch the football. He doesn't do much after he catches the football. And that was always kind of a knock on him here in Philadelphia, is there's not much yak to Zach Ertz, but he does catch the football, and he's a great guy in the locker room. And now he's got some beautiful blonde hair. He looks like Ric Flair out there today on the first practice.
I know, man. I was like, is that Odell or is that Zach Ertz out
right.
there? I'm like, holy cow. Is it more the money? Is it more the injury issue that he went through a year ago? Is it all of it that are scaring teams away, you think, from trying to make a deal for him?
I think it's the money, that if you'd have to bring him on, $12.7 million, a lot to pay for a guy his age, where, he's not the same player he was a few years ago. I think he'd really like to be reunited with Frank Reich and Carson Wentz, to be honest with you. I think a lot of people have thought that. I'm not a genius, but, there's a certain chemistry between those two players on and off the field. If you're Zach, I think you come in, you play the good soldier right now. You be a leader to younger players, and play the role, and hopefully something breaks somewhere else, and you can go and have a second half of your career somewhere else.
The behavior and how his characteristic and how he is when he calls so many teams, and that's Howie Roseman, the general manager of the Eagles. I mean, his MO is he's always on the phone. A couple years ago, he goes and tries to go after Patrick Peterson. Steve Keim just wanted too much money for the player. He wanted him. He wanted that defensive end down in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
He was always trying to find
Ngakoue.
Yeah, always trying to find a guy to bring into Philadelphia.
Right.
Now there's rumors around that there's been conversations with the Texans and with Howie Roseman on potentially bringing, Deshaun Watson into Philadelphia. Could that have also paused this thing here a little bit, Harry, where you're doing this? Devontae Smith, Zach Ertz, not the Zach Ertz of 3 years ago. I get it, but still a functional tight end. When you have a wideout that can put the scare into any defense, and you have a quarterback that could go in that division and immediately win that division and make the Eagles a 10-win team. I mean, could there be something to that story that's going on around in Philadelphia and in Houston?
Well, maybe Zach Ertz is part of a compensation package that goes back, to Houston. Sure, that would be great. I mean, I'm one of those guys that's sort of holding out and saying, "Hey, man, Deshaun Watson could still be an Eagle at some point. Whether he has to pay some sort of suspension price, whatever. I mean, you're looking at bringing in a top 5 quarterback talent level." For the next 4 or 5 years, okay, maybe he has to miss 8 games. Hopefully he straightens his, whatever this proclivity he has for massages. We get that squared away. I don't know what went on, and if he did something inappropriate, he's got to pay the price. But man, he's a super, super talented quarterback. I mean, what do you have? 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions last year. He threw 70% completion rate.
On a crappy team.
Yeah, on a lousy team that was going nowhere. He threw for almost 5,000 yards. So what could he do here with Devontae Smith and this Eagle group would be pretty cool.
Where do you think the Eagles fit in the NFC East with the current roster they have going into the 2021 year?
I think they're probably about third. I think Dallas going into it is still the cream of the crop. I think they'll win 9 or 10 games and win the division. I'd pencil WFT in there at second, simply on the strength of that defense. They're building something incredible there, Dan. And you know all these players, and you know what a great group of defensive guys can do for an entire roster. That's something special that they're putting together in that front seven that I think is going to be really dangerous as a guy who roots for the Eagles over the next couple of years. If they get the quarterback position figured out, who knows? Could they get a Deshaun Watson in there? I mean, think about that.
Wow.
Be
a 12-win team.
Oh, easily. Just, book it. Yeah, forget about Dallas. WFT is going to the playoffs again, and they'd actually be legitimate this year, not just because the NFC East had to send a team last year. So I like Washington as the second team, and then I like the Eagles. I think the Eagles are right around probably a 7-10 team right now, and the Giants are probably right along there with them.
The new coach, your feelings on him? Do you have thumbs up, thumbs down, neutral, Switzerland? How are you looking at him?
I'm neutral right now. I'm not, he's one of these high energy guys. And high energy guys in radio used to kind of weird me out a little bit, Dan. You're like, wait, back off a little bit. It's 6 a.m. Just calm down, So he's a little bit much for me right now, but I'm going to give the guy a chance. He's into it. The players seem to be buying in, and that's really all that matters. It doesn't matter what I sit here and say. Are these veteran players going to buy into the rock, paper, scissors stuff, which I thought was a little goofy? I mean, he said some things early on that kind of had you thinking like, man, does this guy have a clue? Who's going to buy? What veteran is going to accept this guy? But it appears that things have smoothed out now, and he's got the attention of the young players too. He's great with receivers. He's kind of one of these hands-on kind of head coaches. I was talking to some people today that were down there and said, he's out there coaching like a position coach would be, not like your typical head coach. So, we'll see how it works. I'm going to give him a chance. They got a young staff. I kind of wish there was a little bit more sort of seniority on the staff somewhere. It all seems to be, all young guys, all energetic dudes. I mean, there's a position coach, Dan, I think is 27 years old. I think it might be the linebackers coach. I mean, that's unbelievable.
You just said something to me now that's going to make me pause, and we're going to get Sirianni on, I think, next week. And that just made me pause what you say, because he's still a position coach. the biggest transition that a coach makes is going and putting down the position headphones and putting on the head coaching headphones, because you got to be more of a delegator.
CEO.
You got to be more of a CEO like Jimmy Johnson was.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be something that Urban Meyer struggles from, because he loves to coach. And when you're in the college game, you're more of a hands-on type guy. When you're an NFL CEO guy, you sit back and you allow your position coaches to coach, and you evaluate them, and you evaluate the players with your personnel department. So he may be going through that transition as well.
Right. Yeah. And, maybe this takes a couple of games, just sort of figure out, what he's got. He's probably, he's trying to get his handle on this roster. These are new players for him. He's new. Everything's new. So I'm not going to sit here and say thumbs up or down. I'm neutral right now, and I'm willing to give him a chance.
2 last questions for you here. Help me out on something here. I know Doug Peterson pretty well, and I like the coach. I like his journey. I love the fact that he had to work his way up. Andy Reid gave him, an umbilical cord for him to be able to be a coach. And arguably, it's been one of the greatest eras in the history of Eagle football. He wins a Super Bowl, a couple division titles. I mean, how did it unravel so fast?
Great question. 3 years after winning a Super Bowl and he's out of here, it was one of those things where I really think he had a tough time replacing the coaches that he lost. And it was sort of the staff had, there was some question marks with his staff after he lost Reich and he lost the quarterbacks coach, that were part of that triumvirate that, helped Carson Wentz and so, Nick Foles and, won that Super Bowl. And I think there was a bit of where Doug started to sort of feel himself within the organization too. And that kind of bothered the ownership a little bit, and Doug wanted it his way. The ownership wasn't still willing to sort of just let Doug bring in whoever he wanted. There was battles there where I think Doug just finally said, hey, you know what? I don't really want to be around here anymore either. I don't have my franchise quarterback anymore. And what are we doing here? I can just sit here, collect a check, play golf, and pick my next job, a year from now. Because his defensive coordinator retired too. You remember? So everything sort of just blew apart. 3 years after a Super Bowl, you lose your franchise quarterback, who granted didn't win the Super Bowl, but got you to a position where you had home field throughout before he, busted up his knee. And you lose the head coach, the defensive coordinator, quarterback. Everything's gone. The only thing that was left here was Howie Roseman and the ownership. So
that's
it's crazy.
Schwartz ended up calling it a career. That's right. The DC ended up retiring. You mentioned Howie. Final question for you. Any pressure on him this year? Do you think? Now look, you get rid of the franchise quarterback, like you say. You get rid of a Super Bowl coach. If this thing just craps all over itself this year, what does the owner do?
Well, that's a great question, because the fan base is already half of them to 2/3 of them want to get rid of Howie as is. They think he's had his life. How do you survive all this? The multiple coaches and losing your franchise quarterback that they gave up a lot to get up to the draft to get in the first place, and it all fell apart. I would think if this just crumbles and this team is 4-13. That would not look very good for Howie Roseman. Do you want him? Let's say they have 3 first-round picks then next year. If the one from Indianapolis converts to a first rounder, does he get the right to pick those players? After this whole thing unraveled 3-4 years after a Super Bowl and the team's 4-13. To me, if I'm the owner, no way. But Jeffrey Lurie's, his loyalties, they don't sit in line with a lot of people that cover the team.
I would have paid money to see you and Bruno in the mornings. I would have paid, and I would have paid a lot of dough to see how that conversed back and forth before you guys went on the air. You talk about high energy.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, he's high energy when he's on the show, but when he's off the show, he goes into low energy mode, and it's incredible.
Like this, Tony, wake up. How you doing? Over here.
What up, man?
Farmer Tony. Hey, Harry, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Don't forget, you can catch him each and every single day right here, Monday through Friday on the JAKIB Media channel, The Middle. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you doing this.
Anytime, Dan. Love the show.
You got it, man. That's our friend, Harry Mays. And again, don't forget, you can catch him every day right here on the JAKIB Media channel. We will take a brief time out. You keep it here on the National Football Show.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
joining in
Decisions,
the dark.
the dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid
as long as you face the fear.
and keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross.
The savoring taste of a good bag of beef jerky is so enjoyable at any time of the day, as long as you can find it. Here's what we suggest. Pure Bull Beef Jerky is our answer, and soon it will be yours. Locally produced in the Philadelphia region, this high-quality, healthy protein snack is easy to secure. Go to steersnacks.com, and you'll see hot garlic, tropical heat, Pure Bull dry rub, and our favorite, Huck and Fod. What's that? Huck and Fod. Go now to steersnacks.com.
Welcome to the Wildwoods, the perfect place where you can safely do everything or nothing at all. Catch a wave, take a nap, go for a drive, grab a bite. It's your vacation, and we're doing everything we can to make it a safe one. The Wildwoods. Your vacation, your way.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 98, is a proud sponsor of The Labor Show with J. and Krause every Saturday night from 6 to 8 p.m. IBEW Local 98's highly trained and superbly skilled electricians are the best in the business, setting the highest safety standards in the electrical industry. So when you're planning your next industrial, commercial, or residential project, choose an IBEW Local 98 union contractor. Learn more at ibew98.org.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
This is a key. It's a family tree. It's a pair of wings. It's a secret handshake. And a ticket to anywhere in the world. It's more than a uniform. It's the door to a world most people only dream of. There's Strong, and then there's Army Strong. Try it on at GoArmy.com.
Welcome back to the National Football Show. Dan Sileo. Ask me why I'm laughing. Ask me why I'm laughing. No, it's because not that tool Steven, who jumped aboard with us earlier, took 10 minutes of my life that I'll never get back. Why do you think it is? Because I've got to talk about the stupid-ass Jets. Ugh. The Jets. Oh, God. Is there a worse fan in America than Jet Guy? Okay? Seriously. Boston, here, like I told you before, you're the best fan bases in the NFL. Boston, Philly. You really think Giant fan is great? The Giant fans are pretty cool. It's always sellouts. Let's see. Pittsburgh, New Orleans, Chicago Bears, Packer fans. Dolphin fans, no. Rams fans, no. Niner fans, they don't even play in San Francisco anymore. They're in Santa Clara. Where the hell's that? Oh, it's in wine country. I always wanted to play football in wine country. Get me the hell out of there. Seahawk fan's pretty cool. Jet fan is the most delusional fan in the National Football League. You know why? 1969, baby. Joe Namath. My boy Cal, I think he's 20. Who's Joe Namath? 1969. There was an album. What was that thing called? Woodstock? Yeah. I saw a movie, man. I was like, I had to go and watch it on YouTube. Did Neil Armstrong land on the moon then too? Yeah, there was a. Is it real? Yeah, they did land on the moon. 1969, Jets. Joe Namath. Shea Stadium. Oh, yeah, that's right. They got to pay rent to the Giants because they play at MetLife. It's always great when you're not like, you got to pay rent. You got to go to Giant Guy and go like this. Hey, here's my rent. It's kind of like the Chargers at SoFi in L.A. They pay rent to Stan Kroenke. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that you don't have your own building. Anyway, so why Zach Wilson, the quarterback, hasn't signed? It's a set deal. You can't negotiate the money. And there's a distinction. The first and second pick in the draft, you're owed your signing bonus between 15 and 30 days. I think it's $18.5 or $19 million that you have to pay within 15 or 30. Guess what the dumbass Jets want to do? So the Jets have come up with this idea that they want to defer 75% of that signing bonus to next year. Why would they want to do that? So they can collect the interest and pay the kid on the interest this year and basically get over on the kid. That's not how it works. End result, the Jets are cheap. Okay? Jamal Adams, they send his out. Anybody that was decent in that organization. Why do you think they don't get good? If you hire a stiff by the name of Adam Gase as your head coach, crazy eyes. I'm really proud that I got the Jets gig. Hey, man. I thought the guy was on blow. Hey, man. We got a special guy in Sam Darnold. Hey, guy, you're frightening me. Like, you're not supposed to frighten your fan base on your, introduction press conference. I get rock, paper, scissors. Okay, I even went like this. What? Yeah. Okay, but let's be candid. Belichick's first press conference, when he got the job in New England, everybody was like, I don't know. This guy didn't really cut it too well in Cleveland. Okay, I don't know. I don't know if we're working here with this. Right, so when it comes to press conferences, I'm not going to really gauge a guy on press conferences, but the dudes look. Seriously, I thought this guy was getting ready for another 8-ball. Yeah, man. Jet gig. How'd you get this gig, dude? You got blown out with the Dolphins. You sucked out loud there. You couldn't do anything with Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill makes $30 million a year now in Tennessee. And now you're here in New York? How did that work? That's because Woody Johnson is a horrible owner. Some go like this. Woody's a real great guy. This is like the conversation now. It started out in the first hour about Simone Biles. This has got nothing to do with them personally. I don't attack anybody personally. You know why? I don't know you or them. When you're criticizing athletes or coaches or organizations, nobody's going like this. Oh, the owner's wife, It's got nothing to do when we're breaking down things here or having conversations on something. It has nothing to do with it. But the Jets now want to do something and defer money out that's not in the collective bargaining agreement. They want to move the sticks. And the kid's like, why would you want to do that to me? Because then you know what the organization can do? The organization, if they can move the sticks on you once, they'll try to do it again, especially if they figure out you suck. Remember what the Jets have invested in this. Hey, not that I want to spend 10 more minutes on this thing here with the Jets. I don't really like to talk about weak-ass organizations, and they're the quintessential weak-ass organization. So know this, I get bored like you too. talking about horrible teams. But, I mean, look at what they got invested here. So you send Sam Darnold, who you drafted in the first round, to Carolina. What if that dude goes down there and he turns into a superstar? There's more of an issue there than I have with Wentz going to Indy. Because you know why? At least the Eagles get a one back if that kid plays well. Do you know what the Jets get if Darnold plays well in Carolina? Gumbo. They get gumbo and catfish. That's what you get. You got nothing in return. So if that guy goes down there and he spins that rock down there with Christian McCaffrey and they play well and the Jets take a knee again on their quarterback, which because they've had great success on their quarterbacks. Holy cow. You talk about the abyss of quarterback. It's like a landfill where you throw all your crap in. What's that thing called? It's the Jets Landfill. Oh, what's in it? All the quarterbacks they've ever drafted. Hackenbergs of the world. Right? Look at all them guys down there, man. I could make jet soup out of them. Right? Jesus criminy. So now they're just total Jets move. They got a system in place, but yet they don't want to go down the line here and do the right thing. By the way, you notice something different here today? No vaccination talk. I'm sick of it too. No vaccination talk. If I spend another 10 seconds on that, I'm with you. Mask and vaccinations. Stop it. I know I briefly mentioned Lamar, but come on. All right. So the NCAA, the National Communist Association of America, has come out with their only thing they have left when it comes to any kind of power. This was their ruling today. Because now nobody needs them. Texas and OU. Hey, get this. So Texas and OU decided to lead the Big 12. Do you think they called the NCAA? Why? That'd be like, watch this. That'd be like the Eagles not calling Roger Goodell or the other owners and just going, hey, we're moving to Cherry Hill. No, that's not how it works. Oh, yeah, it does. We're going to move to Pennsauken, New Jersey. Yeah, we're going to move to Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You'd be like, well, no, it doesn't. No. Yeah. They didn't even call them. So this is the only thing they have left is still to try to put their thumb on the players. Can't do it money-wise now. Players own you. So they came out today, and they went like this. Reggie Bush, your records will not be recognized. Which means, because the Heisman people, they basically were cowardly lions in this whole thing. And just instead of giving the kid back his Heisman, they put it on the NCAA. And the Heisman helped the NCAA make them relevant. Because here's Big Sills talking about them. They're not going to recognize Reggie's official numbers that he had at USC, which means the Heisman Trust now has a cowardly way out of the conversation on giving his Heisman back. Congratulations. You both look like saps. You both look like ridiculous human beings and so petty. You're allowing teams to move. Get this. Think of this for a second. You're allowing two teams to destroy a conference in the Big 12. To destroy a conference. It'll be the end of them. They'll pretend to go around for 2 years. Then it'll be the demise of them. It's not a conference without OU and Texas in it. Who are you going to bring in? That's going to be even anything. People go, it's a power conference. Kansas? Oklahoma State? 2 teams destroyed a conference, but you're not going to give a kid back his Heisman because he took money that he should have been getting anyway. That shows you the hypocrisy, and it also shows you the irrelevance of what the NCAA is today. They're not relevant. All right. Hey, I appreciate everybody coming aboard. A lot of comments we made. People today, we really appreciate you guys coming aboard. Don't forget, each and every single day, 4 to 6 Eastern time, you can check us here on the JAKIB Media channel. Krause, Big Joe, Cal, we appreciate it. Till tomorrow, we'll see you on the flip side.